All right, what is up? Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here with another live stream of Fast Break Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. As I'm sure everybody in here knows by now, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time, 11 a.m., giving out picks for every single game. As for today, we do have a nice slate of 10 games, but unfortunately, the games itself kind of gross. We have a bunch of teams that are either both of them are on the second or second half of a back-to-back, or one of the teams is on the second half of a back-to-back or the front end of one. It's just 10 days off with the All-Star break. Unfortunately, that kind of happens. But I still was able to find a decent amount of plays that I liked. And we're going to have a total of 7 units risked as we attempt to get back in the green on the year. I will say we did end up until the All-Star break on a pretty tough cold streak. But hey, yesterday went really well. So hopefully we can break out of that. Make sure, if you're not already, to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. You can find me basically any social media you see on the screen here at Jedi Modi. And then, of course, get all your questions, comments, concerns, get everything in the chat. When you see me look over, all I'm doing is just monitoring the chat. So, Joe, appreciate you being in here with us. And we can get right to it. So the first game that we're going to go ahead and talk about, this is in the Raptors versus Hawks. We're taking Trae Young over 11.5 assists. This is best offered at plus 100 odds per the Betting Pros consensus, or you can see the odds up here on the screen on DraftKings as well. If you want to be a little bit safer, you could pay for some juice and get him over 10.5. I wanted to get it up a little bit to get the better odds at the plus 100. So looking at Trae, in the month of February, he is averaging 11.1 assists per game. That is the most in the NBA, again, in the month of February. He's also averaging the second most potential assist in this month as well at 16.9. And if you look at the entire season, not just this month, he's averaging both the second most potential assists and the second most actual assists in the NBA. He's only behind Tyrese Halliburton in both of those categories. And he's been playing really well recently. He's cashed the over 11.5 assists in 7 of his last 10 games. That includes, in that 10-game stretch, includes a game against Toronto in which he had 12 assists. And that brings me to the matchup, which is very, very juicy against this Raptors team, whose defense has just been in shambles after all the trades that they made and injuries and stuff as well. Heading into the All-Star break, 6 of the last 7 point guards against the Raptors cashed their assist over under. They 6 of the last 7 cashed their over. Trae himself has cashed this over in 2 of 3 games against the Raptors. The one game he missed, he had exactly 11 assists, which would be a bummer if that happened tonight. But in that game, he still had 17 potential assists. So he still had a good game. He just didn't quite get one jumper to fall. I'll take 17 potential assists against the Raptors any day of the week. And it makes sense, right? When like this matchup being good for Trae makes sense. The Raptors are giving up the 3rd most assists per game to someone of Trae Young's playmaking style. They've only gotten worse as the season has gone on. Like their November and December numbers look better than their January and February. So I love backing Trae and his assist number. Hopefully he can come through for us. Next up, we're going to the Cavs, Sixers. I see Marquise in the comments. We hit last night. Yes, we did. Let's hope we can hit tonight as well. But again, next game, Cavaliers versus 76ers. I'm taking the Cavs straight up. I'm taking them, or I guess they're spread straight up, minus 3.5. This is another full unit play that I'm putting on this. Minus 110 odds is what I got it at DraftKings. You can see the updated odds on the screen here as well. So this is one of the many games in which both of the teams are on the second half of a back-to-back. Both the Sixers and the Cavs played last night. That's gross, but the Cavs are the play here. These two teams played pretty close up until the All-Star break, like maybe Monday of I guess 2 weeks ago at this point. And the Sixers had a surprising victory. They had been struggling. They beat the Cavs, who had been on fire. But really, if you take out that game for the Sixers, they've been horrible over the past month, basically since Embiid got hurt. Last night, the Sixers got smoked by the Knicks. Overall, in the month of February, they have a 3-6 record, but their net rating is minus 7.9. That net rating would be the 7th worst in the NBA in the month of February. And for context, both the Pistons and the Hornets, 2 of the worst teams in the NBA, have a better net rating this month than the Sixers. In that stretch, the 4th worst defense. And if you go back and look at the past month, 5 weeks or so, January 15th and on, the Sixers have the 2nd worst defense in the NBA. Another part that I like for the Cavs perspective is if you look at where the Cavs are good on offense and defense, That lines up exactly where the Sixers struggle, both on offense and defense. From the Cavs' perspective, on offense, they like to shoot threes or they attack the rim. Over the last 10 games, the Sixers have the third worst defense at the rim in the NBA in terms of field goal percentage at the rim. And the Sixers are bottom 10 in terms of how they guard above the break three-pointers defensively. The Cavs loves to take those shots, and they're sixth in efficiency in terms of above the break three-pointers. Sorry, it's a tongue twister there. Overall, the Sixers, they're 4-11 against the spread their last 15 games. They're 0-7 against the spread at home in their last 7 home games. So yeah, the Sixers are the home team. That really hasn't helped them recently. So the Cavs are absolutely the play here. Monahan Skywalker, I love the name. Let's get it. Appreciate you being in here with us. So we're 2 picks deep. Before I get into the next one, I want to talk to you about the Betting Pros app. I haven't gotten into how I use the app yet, but I will as the stream goes on. You can find it bettingpros.com/apps. My favorite part about the app is the prop bet cheat sheet. You can find all of Betting Pros recommended picks based on the current lines that the sportsbooks are offering, like the sportsbooks over under, along with the Betting Pros projections as well. So Betting Pros will give you the highest percent of positive expected value. Or if you're looking like at FanDuel or DraftKings, is giving you a risk-free same-game parlay. I like using the Betting Pros app just to filter or sort by the highest win percentage. So what plays are most likely to hit? You can lock those in on DraftKings. You can also sort by biggest difference between the sportsbooks over/under and Betting Pros projections. I like to use that for pumped up props. A bunch of different ways you can use the cheat sheet. I lock in all of my plays on the app as well. Bettingpros.com/Modi is where you can find that. If you download the app, you can also get access to a free trial of the premium offering. We'll talk about in a little bit a giveaway that we're doing to the premium subscription, but you can also get a free trial by downloading the app. And you can sync all your different bets with the different sportsbooks through the Betting Pros app as well. So definitely recommend downloading it. Helps a lot with your sports betting needs and stuff. So bettingpros.com/apps. So we're 2 picks deep. Let's get into the next one. Suns versus Rockets. The play here is Jusuf Nurkic over 9.5 rebounds. This is best offered at -125 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. This is more of a lean than something I'm officially putting a full unit on. It's another game in which both teams are on the second half of a back-to-back. And the reality is, I really don't want any part of this game. The Suns just lost to the Mavericks last night, their heated rival. Now they have to play another game on the road, travel to Houston. Granted, going from Dallas to Houston isn't a super long travel or anything like that, but still. And then the Rockets, they're also on the second half of back-to-back, and they just got blasted by the Pelicans last night. So it's a tough game overall. In terms of the play that I have, the Nurkic one, I actually do like that angle. I think if this wasn't like both teams on the second half of back-to-back, I probably would put the full unit on this one. The Rockets give up the second most rebounds per game to somewhat of Nurkic's rebounding style. And they've just allowed centers to rack up a bunch of rebounds recently. Last night, Valanciunas got 14 against them. Last week, before the All-Star break, Jakob Poeltl had 13 on an over-under of 9.5. Overall, 5 of the last 7 centers against the Rockets have cashed their rebounding over. And last night, Nurkic played fewer than 20 minutes per game. So he really shouldn't be too impacted by being on the second half of back-to-back because he didn't play a ton last night. And in his last game against the Rockets back in December, he had 10 rebounds in less than 15 minutes of playing time. So even if he does play limited minutes, he could still cash it in limited minutes as well. So I like to play overall. It's just the matchup or just the spot itself that scares me off. But that's our third pick. Now we're moving on to our fourth one, and this is a play that we are going to have a full unit on. Clippers versus Grizzlies game. Vince Williams over 23.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is best offered at -120 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. I'm also going to have a ladder play on him as well. So our official play is this points, rebounds, assists one. And I'm laddering him up to 15 plus points as well, which you can get at +165 odds at DraftKings. So I feel like we're going to talk about him and another guy that I just don't think the collective NBA world has really caught up to yet. This one obviously being Vince Williams. He's been awesome. Like the Grizzlies have had a skeleton crew basically the entire year. He's probably the one guy getting minutes for them this year who will be part of their rotation when they have a fully healthy roster next year. He's cashed this over 23.5 points, rebounds, assists, literally in 9 straight games. Normally when that happens, the sportsbooks will adjust and they'll price his number higher. They haven't done that yet, even though that he's been awesome. And just look at how he's been playing recently. The last 10 games, he's averaging 35 minutes per game. Now, he might not quite get to 35 in this game because the Grizzlies are going to have guys like Luke Kennard back. But as long as he gets to 30, which is what he's projected to play, that's all I need. The 30 minutes is kind of the threshold here, the baseline. This year, in the last 15 games that he's played at least 30 minutes, he's gone over this in 13 of those 15 games. In this stretch where he's been playing well, he's averaging 15.1 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, and 5.5 assists. And if you look at the last 5 games, those rebounds and assist numbers have skyrocketed, right? Last 5 games, 7.2 rebounds per game, 7.8 assists per game. Again, that's in his last 5 games. Now, for this matchup against the Clippers, of all 3 of the stats that were taking a combined number of points, rebounds, assists, the Clippers are specifically the best matchup for his point prop specifically. That's kind of why I'm taking the latter play separately to 15 plus points. The Clippers give up the 4th most points per game to someone of Vince Williams' shooting profile. Again, that's why I like the latter play individually, but combined, just because he's been doing so well, both with rebounds and assists, that's why the PRA is the play as a whole. But I really like targeting Vince Williams in this one. So that's our 4th pick. Now we're on to our 5th one, and this is in the Heat versus Pelicans game. Zion Williamson under 24.5 points, best offered at -110 odds at DraftKings. So the one important note that I want to make here is that this is contingent on Brandon Ingram playing. So if Brandon Ingram plays, then I will make this an official 1-unit play. If Brandon Ingram sits, then I'm just going to have this be a no touch. So that's kind of why I listed it as a lean, as you can see. But it's all about the Ingram, whether he plays or not. With Ingram not in the lineup, so when Zion plays without Brandon Ingram, Zion has the highest usage rate increase on the Pelicans. His usage rate increases by 6.2%. And he also averages 5.7 more points per game per 36 minutes when Ingram is not on the floor with Zion. So Ingram missing is a huge deal. This is a tough matchup against the Heat. So that's kind of why, if Ingram misses, why I'm not taking Zion's over is because it's a tough matchup against the Heat. They're one of the only teams that can really hang with Zion physically, which mostly just means Jimmy Butler and Bam. But the Heat are literally giving up the fewest points per game to someone of both Zion's shooting profile and his scoring profile, which really just means that they do a really good job protecting the rim. So again, if Ingram does play, another way of phrasing what I said about what happens when Ingram misses is when him and Ingram share the court together, Zion's usage rate goes down by 6.2%, and he scores 5.7 fewer points per game per 36 minutes. So right now, Ingram missed yesterday, and he's listed as questionable for today. So that's something that we'll have to monitor. If Ingram misses, not touching it. If he plays, I think this is a smash play for the Zion under 24.5 points. So we're 5 picks deep. We're halfway done with what we have for today. The perfect time to talk to you about the Betting Pros Discord. So if you're looking to up your sports betting game, look no further than the Discord community at bettingpros.com. You can, or at the Betting Pros Discord, which you can find at bettingpros.com/chat. In the Discord, Betting Pros has gathered a team of expert handicappers. It's a bummer that the NFL season's over, but we're in the middle of NBA season. MLB is starting soon. We got college basketball. We got NHL, player props, live betting, futures, really anything you can look for, you can find in the Discord. Get in on the action, connect with individuals such as yourselves that are tuning in here, sports betting enthusiasts. You can also elevate your own betting strategies. You can get insight from the pros in the Discord to help with your own strategy. So join us today in the Discord. Take your sports betting experience to the next level. All right, we're halfway done. Excuse me. We got 5 picks left. Our next one is in the Wizards versus Thunder game. And the play here is Tyus Jones over 8.5 assists, -120 odds per the Betting Pros consensus is the best line. I'm also, so our official play is the 8.5. I'm also going to take him to record 10 plus assists as well, which you can get at +140 odds, which I'm putting a half unit on. So I kind of, like I mentioned Vince Williams, I don't think that the sports betting world and just the NBA world in general has caught up to him. I feel the same way about Tyus Jones. He's been phenomenal recently. He's cashed 9 or more assists in 5 straight games. In his last 3 games, 16 assists, 15 and 14. What he's doing is just crazy. And it's not like he's only doing it in good matchups as well. It's not like, oh, these past 5 games, he's just been playing really bad defenses. That's why he's been going over. No, he had 9 assists against the Celtics. He had 15 assists against the Pelicans, 14 against the Nuggets. Those are good defenses. And in the matchup tonight against the Thunder, another good defense, it doesn't scare me off. In the month of February, Tyus Jones is literally averaging the most potential assists per game at 18.4, more than Trae, more than Luka, more than Halliburton, literally the most. And then in terms of actual assists, he's averaging the second most at 10.6. Only Trae Young is above him, who I already mentioned is doing a really good job from an assist perspective. So I think that the 8.5 number, I just don't think that the books have caught up, and I'll gladly take advantage of his assist number being at 8.5 for minus 120 odds. And then again, ladder him up to 10 plus as well. So, all right, 7th pick of the evening. We're almost done. We got Hornets versus Warriors. And this one I'm taking Jonathan Kuminga over 16.5 points. This one is another play that's just going to be a lean as opposed to an official play that we're going to track whether it hits or not. Also, mostly because this is another game in which both teams are on the second half of a back-to-back. It's kind of gross that the NBA does this, but we can only do what we can do with the schedule. I do think that with the line here at 16.5, I just think that the books have overcorrected a little bit too much on Kuminga. Like leading up until the All-Star break, his over-under was 21.5 or 22.5. And now it's all the way down to 16.5. And I understand conceptually why that's the case, right? Like he's gone under 16.5 points in 4 straight games. But prior to that, he had gone over 16.5 points in 4 straight games, and he'd done it in 5 of 6 games as well. And in the one game that he missed, he had exactly 16 points. So it's not every single time where a player misses an over-under in 4 straight games, and then they have it drop by 5 points. Like I just think that's crazy. And just because of the fact that he missed it in 4 straight, I don't think that should make it drop by 5. And that definitely doesn't scare me off from taking him to go over this number because he's a young guy in a new role. And that's just kind of how the NBA works. And I do think that this is a good matchup for him to score against the Hornets. They just have no interior defense at this point. That's where Kuminga does most of his damage. The Hornets really need Mark Williams back. He's been out for a while. They have not been good at protecting the paint with Mark Williams out of the lineup. And now that his point over under has dropped all the way to 16.5, like now there's value on the over. So I'll gladly make that not an official play, but I'll gladly make that a lean if someone really wanted to bet this Hornets Warriors game. I do think that this is a pretty good play here. All right, 7 picks deep. We have 3 left. But last thing I want to talk to you about before I get into those 3 is the giveaway that I hinted at earlier, 1-year premium subscription giveaway. So if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, it's a place where you can bet smart, not hard. It's always good to work smart, not hard. You need so to be entered for the giveaway, all you need to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel and then comment on this video. That's all you got to do. Subscribe and comment. That's how you can be entered. A winner will be announced right here on the channel. So I would recommend turning notifications on. So in general, you can be alerted when new episodes drop and you can come in and claim your prize. 1-year premium subscription giveaway. Comment, subscribe. That's all you got to do. Next up, 3 plays, and all 3 of them are going to be official 1-unit plays that we're going to be tracking. So no more leans to round this out. First up of the last 3, Bucks Timberwolves. I'm taking Brook Lopez over 1.5 made 3-pointers. Excuse me, minus 140 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. This is almost strictly a matchup play. It's how the Timberwolves play defense, which lends itself to a lot of her centers being able to take a lot of 3-pointers against them. And for centers like Brook Lopez who can shoot, it's a pretty good matchup, right? And the logic here is Rudy Gobert loves staying at the rim. It makes sense. He's one of the best rim defenders at the rim in NBA history. He's amazing. But that also means that he'll leave guys open on the perimeter like Brook Lopez who can shoot. These 2 teams just played a couple weeks ago. Brook Lopez he cashed 2 3-pointers. He only did that in 25 minutes of play. He went 2 of 4 from deep in that game. And Brook has also generally been on a pretty hot streak from deep recently. He's made 2 or more 3-pointers in 6 of his last 8 games. And that stretch includes 3 games in a row where he was just ridiculous from 3. In this 3-game stretch, he made 6 against the Pelicans, 5 against the Nuggets, 4 against the Blazers. The common thread with all 3 of those defenses is they have a big plotting center who likes to stay close to the paint and who drops in pick and roll coverages, just like the Timberwolves do. So I mentioned Brook Lopez cashed this in the first game they played this year. Brook Lopez also cashed this in the one game he played against the Timberwolves last year. And overall, 5 straight centers against the Timberwolves had cashed their 3-point total over under. Let's hope that trend continues tonight. Let's hope Brook Lopez can come in, cash this play for us. Next up, second to last play of the evening. This is in the Nuggets versus Blazers game. Again, another official 1-unit play that will be tracked as such. Anfernee Simons over 23.5 points, -122 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. You can also, if you want to get better odds, you can pump him up to 25 plus points. You can get that at +104 odds, I believe, is what the numbers are, what the odds are for that. This is mostly a play just on the usage rate. That's going to be absurd for Anfernee Simons, who's probably going to shoot the ball 1 million times in this game. Not as much a matchup play, again, more so just a usage play. So Scoot is out for this game. While Malcolm Brogdon and Shaedon Sharpe, they've both been hurt for a while. They're both still out for this game as well. If you look at data with those 3 not on the floor when Simons has a usage rate of 34.8%. For context, that would be the 3rd highest in the NBA if you extrapolate that out to the entire season. The only 2 guys above this usage rate are Luka Doncic and Joel Embiid. And with those 3 guys off the court, Anfernee Simons averages 5.3 more points per game per 36 minutes. Now, if you look at the entire year, point guard / kind of combo guard like Simons, their point props don't look amazing in terms of a matchup against the Nuggets, but the Nuggets defense hasn't been great recently. They've allowed 4 straight point guards to cash their point total cash their over. And these 2 teams have played twice so far this year. Simons has cashed it in both of those games with 29 and 26 points. In terms of games played without Scoot, he's only played in 1 game without Scoot Henderson this year. In that game, he cashed this over, scoring 29 points against the Pistons. So I love this play for Anfernee Simons. It might not be the most efficient 24, 25-point game you've ever seen, but we're not betting on efficiency, just the fact that he can get those points for us. That's our second to last play. Last up, our 10th and final pick of the evening. Another official play here that is being tracked as a unit. D'Angelo Russell, this is in Spurs-Lakers, I should say. D'Angelo Russell, 20-plus points, +115 odds at DraftKings. So D'Lo, he's just been an absolute wagon for us recently. Like I've cashed him in 4 straight plays, 2 on the assist side, 2 on the point side. Let's hope we can keep the hot streak going, specifically with D'Angelo Russell. So this game, we're taking his points, not his assists. Unfortunately, LeBron is expected to play today, so we don't have the cheat code of just getting D'Lo assists in games that LeBron misses. But I love his points as a play tonight. Part of it is I like the fact that he's missed it in 2 straight games. So it's been a little bit of a colder stretch from a scoring perspective, as he's, again, missed it in 2 straight games, but he cashed it in the 3 games prior to this 2-game stretch. And look at these 2 games. He's had a combined 26 assists in these 2 games. So yes, playmaking went up a little bit. It only makes sense that his scoring went down as well. For tonight, you want to look at his points mostly because A, LeBron's back, and B, the matchup against the Spurs. The Spurs just can't guard anybody from the perimeter. They've been a defense that we've targeted with point guard, point props, basically the entire year. On the entire season, the Spurs are giving up literally the most points per game specifically to point guards. And recently, they've been getting smoked by point guards as well. Last night, Fox had 28 points on an over-under of 25.5. The game right before the All-Star break, Kyrie Irving had 34 points on an over-under of 24.5. The Spurs are allowing the second most points per game to someone of D'Lo's shooting profile, and the 6th most points per game to someone of both his playmaking and his rebounding style as well. So let's hope that D'Lo continues to print money for us. But that's all we got. 7 units risked, 7 official plays, 3 leans, 10 plays total. I play all these straight. If you want to parlay them, obviously do that with a lower unit size, like a 10-leg, 7-leg parlay is tough to cash. So put like $1 or something on that. But I track them all as straight plays. But that's all we got. I appreciate everybody who tuned in, and make sure to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel if you're not already. Make sure to follow me on all the social medias at my handle you see on the screen here. Hope everybody has a great weekend and have a good one.